Oh shit, bitch. We're back in action. And it's a new year. It's 2016. Woohoo! New Year's resolutions, all that horse shit. Today we're going to talk about identity a little bit. We're going to talk about changing yourself. I'm going to put a completely new spin on this that you've definitely never heard before. Because if you're one of these motherfuckers out there that's all about the New Year's resolutions, then we need to have a reality check, because fucking New Year's resolution. If you're one of these people that's all about the New Year's resolutions, then I don't know. I don't know if I can save you. You know, I don't know if Jesus can save you. I don't know. And I say this because, let's be honest, guys. Come on. How many people do you know that really follow through on their New Year's resolutions? That's a rhetorical question. I'll answer it for you. Zero. I hear about them. I definitely hear about them. I hear about people that have New Year's resolutions and they follow through on them. But it's kind of like the people that win the lottery, you know? It's kind of like you hear about them, but you never really see them anywhere. And typically, you know, they're just like these little, like, they're these people that exist in the ether, and they're not real. So we're going to talk about why that happens, why people can't change, because I think I know why. And we're going to get into all sorts of deep shit here. And, you know, we'll end up in a good place. Maybe we won't. Maybe we'll get lost in the woods on the way. But, yeah, man, we got plenty of time. All the time in the world, you know? Little bit, you know, you're going to die eventually, so can't stay here forever. Anyway, identity is the first little stone that we have to hit here. And I'm rolling all off the top of my head. I've got a few ideas I want to hit, but this is all off the dome. Now, before we really get into anything too crazy, I want to talk about two different experiments first, so we have a nice little foundation that we can build off here. The first experiment, this was done by scientists. You may have heard of it. I may have even talked about it before. It's called the Lucifer experiment, or the Stanford Prison experiment, which is where they got two sets of people. And these are all citizens walking around the street, regular people like you or me. And they get these people and they bring them in and they tell them, they say, listen, we're going to play a little game of make-believe here, boys and girls. You, just get the one group of people, you're going to be the prison guards. And then they got this other group of people. You, my friends, are going to be the prisoners. And we're just going to let the clock go, and this is what you're going to be doing for a while. And it was fascinating what happened, because after, it was some very short amount of time, it was either 48 hours or 2 weeks or something very minimal. After a very short amount of time, the prison guards started to become wildly abusive towards the prisoners. I mean, these are regular people, just you or me, that became wildly abusive, incredibly so. And the scientists had to come in, they had to shut everything down. I think there's even a movie made about this that I have not watched, because I've known about this thing for years. I know the story, like spoiler alert type of thing. So they had to shut it down, and the experiment had to end. And, you know, they were scratching their heads and they were wondering why. And we're going to talk about why. But there's another experiment that I'm going to bring up here. This is number two. So remember both these experiments, because this comes into what I'm going to talk about. So, experiment 2. This was called the blue-eyed and the brown-eyed experiment, I think, which is where these scientists, these researchers, they went into a kindergarten, and they separated kids out. They had one group of kids with blue eyes and one group of kids with brown eyes. And they went to the blue-eyed kids, and they went to the blue-eyed kids' parents, and they said, listen, sorry, you know, Mr. and Mrs., you know, whatever your name is, your kid has a learning disability. Your kid has this intense learning disability. We've tested them. We don't know what's going to happen to them. This is a problem, and we don't think it's ever going to go away. So, you know, tough shit. You're just going to have to deal with it. And then they went to the brown-eyed kids, and they went to those parents, and they said, listen, we tested your kid. And it turns out your kid is incredibly gifted. Send this kid in school. Send him to college. These kids need to go to Harvard. You've got some geniuses on your hand. This kid is gifted. And so just push him, and everything's going to be all right. Now, here's the reality. These researchers, they didn't actually test them. They didn't do anything. They just applied a label. All they did, applied a label at an early age. And lo and behold, When these kids hit high school, they saw the results of their actions. They tracked these kids. And the blue-eyed kids, I think on average, became deadbeats in terms of grades. They did terribly in school. They were resigned to the fact they were either going to be drug dealers or work at a restaurant. And then the brown-eyed kids were all being wildly successful. 4.0 GPAs. I'm going to Harvard, bitch. Woo! And so the scientists are freaking out. They're like, oh my God, like, what have we done? So they're trying to hit up the parents and the kids. And they're saying, listen, it was all bullshit. We didn't mean any of it. But here's the thing. Here's how powerful this label was, right? They go to the brown-eyed kids and they say this. And the brown-eyed kids are like, what the fuck do you know, man? I'm still going to Harvard. I'm going to be a lawyer. I'm going to be the best lawyer. I'm the greatest. And they go to the blue-eyed kids. And the blue-eyed kids said, listen, I get that it's bullshit, but you know what? I'm actually kind of a dumb motherfucker, and this is just kind of my life at the moment. In probably less direct words than that. But the reality remains the same, that these labels were so powerful that their identity shifted at an early age. And so this ties right back into New Year's resolutions. And I want to take it a level further than that. I don't even think it's important that you change your life. The act in and of itself is really not that important. I would say it's deeper than that. I would say it comes down to the people that you surround yourself with, right? Because the way that you view yourself, you're always bouncing the idea of yourself off of other people. So you look at yourself one way, and then you go out into the world, and all these people look at you a completely different way. And so there's almost like this little battle that's going on. It's this little bounce-off effect where you view your identity in terms of the way other people look at you. This goes back to the Stanford prison experiment, too. You simply give these people a label, and they just became, the prison guards. Regular people. They knew it was bullshit. They knew it was fantasy. But they became wildly abusive. What the fuck? So interesting, man, because if I take you, right, just if you're listening to this, I'll take you and I'll be like, hey, describe yourself for me. What are your characteristics? And I'm sure you'll have 5 or 6 things off the top of your head you'll be able to hit me with. Oh, I'm an aggressive person. I'm a passive person. I'm a Capricorn. I'm an Aries. I'm a fucking Gemini. Whatever. And, I'm hardworking. Oh, I'm lazy. Or whatever it is. And that is the context. That's the way in which you frame yourself. But it doesn't have to be that way. Especially when you look at these experiments done and I start to realize that people are tribal. And you may be sitting there thinking, well, oh man, well, if a scientist labeled me as an idiot, I'd fucking slap him in the face with my dick and tell him to shut the fuck up. Or, I wouldn't abuse these prisoners. I'd be nice. I'd be a gentleman. You probably wouldn't be. Let's be honest here. You probably wouldn't be. You'd probably conform just like I would probably be in the same boat. If the dude threw me into a prison guard role, I'd probably run with it. I'd probably be the most cruel, abusive. I'd probably be the king of the prison guards. I'd probably be dealing out punishments. I'd have a manifesto on the wall. I'd say these are the rules now, and they'd try to kick me out, and I'd say, nah, you know what? I like being a prison guard. I'm gonna keep doing this. I'm totally bullshitting right now, but you get my point. That these labels are inherently they run deep. They run very, 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 very deep, and you have to be very careful about the labels that other people give you and the labels that you give yourself, because we're gonna, I want to go even deeper than that. You feel me? I don't even want to talk about identity. Let's throw the word identity out. I'll use it a little bit, but I want to use the word ego instead. All right, so let's define the word ego. What the fuck do I mean by the word ego? Well, I've always looked at ego, at least over the past few years, as a house, right? So you've got your ego, which is the way you define yourself, similar to identity. You look at yourself, I'm aggressive, passive, this, that, and the third. I'm, hardworking, I'm smart, I'm dumb. But if you look at your ego in terms of a house, if you look at this in terms of I can build or subtract various parts of myself that I don't like, and some parts that I don't like are deep. Maybe there's some part of yourself that really doesn't take that much to shift. You just have to break a window or break a wall down. And that personality, that little piece of you that you don't like can shift very quickly. Other parts of you that you're trying to change run deep into the infrastructure of your house, and you have to dig in there. You're going to have to cause a lot of chaos. You're going to have to dig through the hole. You have to dig through the ground and your floor and your tiling. You're going to have to rip that bitch out by the hand. And so different parts of yourself are going to require different levels of effort to remove. And this is important to remember, man, because if you look at it in terms of building a house, I think everything becomes much more malleable because you can build your house however you want to, right? It doesn't have to be the way other people look at you. But that's the thing. People build themselves up based on the way others look at them. But you don't have to, man. In fact, if I was the Dr. Phil of video games, right, sit back in my armchair with my dumb little glasses. I don't have glasses, but Dr. Phil does. I would say one of the best things that you could probably do is get some solitude. Get away from people for a day or two and just think about things. And think about the way other people look at you and the way that you want to be. The way you want to be looked at. And, man, here's the thing about New Year's resolutions, right? I almost feel if you're really about the New Year's resolutions life, if you're really about evolving yourself, it takes a little bit of aggression. It takes a little bit of change, and change can be violent sometimes because when you change as a person, other people around you are not ready for that change. They will continue because they don't have the vision that you have. They're going to continue to look at you as you are, and it's not until you decide to shift that all of a sudden these other people have to make a choice. Do we like this person or do we not like this person now? And you will feel that tension. I felt this tension, man. I've actually shifted myself as a person. I've become more of an asshole on purpose because I need more discipline and I need to be able to remove people quickly if I need to. And that requires a little bit more of aggression. It requires me to be a little bit more of an asshole. And, I lost people because of that. And I was willing to. I knew what was going to happen. I knew the tension. And I was willing to burn a bridge if I absolutely had to. And I was like, all right, whatever. If this is the path that I'm on, evolution sometimes requires death, right? If you're trying to evolve, a lot of the times in order to evolve, you got to clear out old space. If I'm trying to redecorate a room, you got to clear out the old furniture, man. You got to clear it out. You got to get rid of it before you can put in new furniture. You can't have the old dusty couch that looks like a baby threw up on it and then put in a new couch. You got to get rid of that thing first. Get rid of that old piece of shit and then put in the cool black leather couch, And evolution requires a little bit of death, killing off the weak sides of yourself or the parts of yourself you don't like. For me, that's what I had to do. And when I see these people that commit to New Year's resolutions, I find that after 1, 2, 3 weeks, it stops. Why does it stop? Because the people around them, the people around you, they continue to look at you as you are. And you frame yourself. You frame yourself in the way other people look at you. So all of a sudden, you've got these people that are continually looking at you the same way, and this new side of you that you're trying to evoke, that you're trying to bring to the surface, dies off. It dies off quickly, too. And it doesn't last very long, and then you sit there and you feel like a piece of shit because you didn't actually shift anything. I'm going to smoke a cigarette here. People try to give me so much shit for smoking cigarettes, but look, my whole family smokes, and I truthfully just don't give that much of a fuck. So, we're gonna keep it moving. I'm doing so much personal evolution. It's all good at the end of the day, baby. So, I want to talk about something here. I want to talk about Ghost Recon a little bit. I might even mention this in this other video. This other video I'm coming out with, these are gonna come out before or after this. I don't know which yet. But I remember when Ghost Recon came out. I've said this before, maybe, but I got to pretty high levels in competitive gaming. Pretty high levels before Ghost Recon, but never to the level I got to in Ghost Recon. Ghost Recon, I was without a doubt a top 3 player. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I was either top 1 or top 2. Maybe you could say I was third, but I don't know 2 other players that were better than me. And I'm not, I'm being a little cocky right now, but if you can name them, I'm ready to fucking 1v1 them today. I don't give a fuck. hop on the game right now. I don't give a shit. When the game first came out, I ran this mental experiment, and this has everything to do with identity and everything to do with New Year's resolutions. I decided to run this experiment where I said, okay, I'm going to try something here. I'm going to pretend to be the best player in the game. I'm going to feel it. I'm going to pretend. I'm going to talk like the best player in the game. I'm going to act like him. I'm just going to put on, consider it a mask or a raincoat. I'm going to put this on. I'm going to put this new identity on, and we're going to see what happens. And after, it felt a little awkward at first because I was a humble person at the time. But after a while, after about 2 weeks, I started to notice something. I started to notice, like, oh, shit, this is, like, really working. This is, like, really clicking here. Something's happening. And after, like, a month or two, I'm winning all these matches against the best teams. And then I start coming up in the conversation as, like, a top 10 player. And I'm like, whoa, oh shit. I'm making moves. I'm making real moves here. Then I got sponsored by Scuff, and it was this progression, and all of a sudden I just became this new person, or I assumed this new role, not a new person, new role. I was still messed up in that. I'm still out of my mind, but I've removed a lot of the dead parts of myself. Now, I did this, and it took maybe 1 to 2 months for it to fully sink, to fully stick. But when it did, it stuck permanently. There was no going back. And this comes to New Year's resolutions too. I didn't need anyone else to validate me. I didn't talk about it with anyone. I maybe talked about it with 1 or 2 people, but that's it. And I made it happen. I made it fucking happen. It's the same thing with, I used to commentate Gears of War tournaments. I did the same shit, man. I said, okay, I'm just going to pretend to be like a really dope commentator. I'm going to pretend like I know what the fuck I'm talking about. And that transitioned into YouTube, where all of a sudden I can just kind of flow off the top of my head and talk about thoughts and ideas and things that I want to talk to you guys about. This all stems from the same place, man, of an identity and being able to just shift and being able to understand that it's all shiftable. It all changes. It all radically changes if you just make the choice to pretend. That phrase, fake it till you make it, that's some real shit. That's real shit, and it works. Let me give you another example. I think people even get irritated with me. I haven't brought it up in a YouTube video, but I've talked to a few close people with me about it. I think they start to get irritated with me when I start to bring this up because I talk about it so fucking much. But I've started to take cold showers. I've been doing this for like a month and a half. Month and a half now, I guess. And at first, and it was because I was reading all these health benefits of it, and I was reading these crazy disciplined savages doing it. And I was like, okay, I need to, all right, you know what? This is what we're doing. Boom. I'm pushing the button all the way down, and I'm hitting go. I don't care how cold it is. I turn the water all the way. No hot water, all the way on cold, and I hop in that bitch. I get in there, and I freeze my fucking ass off because the health benefits are so intense, and they're so extreme. You know, I actually tried to make another recording of this video, and it was right after I hopped out of the shower, and I was talking so fast. I re-listened to it, and I was like, I can't. I can't put this out, dude. I can't. I'm talking like a maniac. People are going to think I'm a cokehead, because I haven't done any drugs besides smoke a cigarette here and there past 2 months, so it's, whatever. I started doing this, and I'm starting to love it, man. I love these cold showers, man. There's just, Jesus Christ, it's just a burst of energy, and all these beautiful chemicals being released in your body. It's fantastic, and it feels really good now too. So these are things that you can shift on your own. Fuck a New Year's resolution. You don't need shit. Fuck them. Fuck all these people. You don't need other people to do this stuff. If anything, you probably need to be alone, honestly, because other people are going to look at you a certain type of way, and you got to be able to burn that bridge if it comes down to it. I like to separate this into 3 different categories. In fact, I like to look at people, this comes down to the 3 categories. I like to look at people as puzzles, okay? And this may sound weird, but bear with me. I like to look at people as puzzles, and everyone's got missing pieces of the puzzle. No one's a complete picture. Not one person that I've met is complete. But unless you're enlightened, and if you claim to be enlightened, then you're probably not. You're just an egocentric asshole. But there's multiple pieces of a person's puzzle, and I like to separate it into three categories. I'm making these three categories up as I go, but whatever. People have, for me, I'll start with me first. I have never had problems with confidence or intelligence. That's always been there. But my main flaw as a human being has been discipline. It's been my main flaw. Being disciplined, just getting my ass up and doing the work. That has been my issue. That's been my Achilles heel, as it were. Okay? Other people do not have this issue. They don't have a problem with discipline. They have a problem with confidence or believing in themselves. And I want to separate those two. I want to separate confidence and believing in yourself, because those are two very different things, and they sound the same, but they're not. I promise you they're not. You can be confident and you can be disciplined and you don't believe in yourself. So I can have a lot of confidence in what I'm doing, but the level of belief I have in myself, your self-esteem can be so low that you have a boss, you have someone that you're working for, you have someone that's telling you what to do all the time, and you might be the best at what you're doing at your job, but this other motherfucker is telling you what to do, and you're shackled, golden handcuffs, as it were, and those can be really dangerous. And so everyone's got missing pieces of the puzzle. Some people don't have discipline. Some people have all the discipline in the world, but they're lacking intelligence or they're lacking belief in themselves. And some people have a lot of everything. And I think a lot of the struggle is just being able to build up the weak shit in yourself. Not the weak, being able to build up the strong parts in yourself and kill off the weak stuff. And the stuff that is weak, you kill it and you replace it with something better, way better. And so for me, it's been discipline. That's what I've been working on for the past 13, 14 months. And you know, there's one thing in our culture that I've legitimately never understood. Where did this idea of humility come from? I understand being nice to people and being kind to people, and I even understand a dose of humility. But Jesus fucking Christ, people act like being humble is some type of weird. Nah, it's not. You shouldn't. The fuck? People, the way capitalism works is you take what you fucking want. We don't live in a communist society where it's just given to you. You have to take what you want. This weird thing where people are priding themselves and being humble. Fuck that, man. You can't be humble. What? No. You got to take what you want. And I even don't have a problem with it as long as, you know what it really comes down to? It comes down to being subservient to another human being and putting yourself down and lifting another person up. I have a huge issue with that because it's like you're pouring all your energy into this other person that's just gonna, they don't give a fuck about you. Why would you do that? Because at the end of the day, man, you come out of the womb solo and you go in the grave solo. That's it. There's no one else. You might have, a girl or a guy that rides with you till the end, but at the end of the day, it's you. It's only you. And you got to make the choice for yourself, man. You got to make the choice for yourself. You need to be able to walk the balancing rope, and you need the balancing line. That tightrope. You know what I'm saying? You got to be able to walk that, and you have to be willing to look at yourself objectively. That's where I think being humble can come into play. Being able to stand back and look at yourself and observe yourself and see what parts of yourself are lacking and what parts of yourself aren't. But, I see so many, man. There's just so many. I can't even. People act like it's all about loving yourself and being positive and being humble. And like, get the fuck out of here with your cancerous logic. That's my opinion. What? What are you talking about? No, don't do that. Because if you want to talk about spirituality, right? Spirituality is really about being authentic at your core. And if you want to look at the Taoist symbol of the yin and the yang, the dark and the light, that's not some weird eternal struggle. What it means is that some situations require a little bit of yin or a little bit of yang. Some situations, when they hit your life, they require a lot of darkness and a lot of aggression. other times it requires a lot of positivity and a lot of love. And if you're not balanced, if you can't even stand back and be objective with yourself, you have no fucking clue which one to use in any given moment. And I'm very aware of what I'm doing at any given time, and I know why I do what I do, and the shit that I say and the shit that I really commit myself. Everything I say to people has a purpose. There's a purpose behind everything I do, and I only do. Sometimes, I'm out of my mind, so sometimes not. Sometimes I'm impulsive as fuck, but for the most part, I really try my best to do this, and it's difficult, man. It's really difficult. If we really want to talk about New Year's resolutions here, if you really want to go down that rabbit hole, this is what you could do. Go to Google Maps, and if you can find, I swear to God, I'm not bullshitting you right now. If you can, I think I've even brought this up in the other video, but whatever. An isolation tank. I swear to God, an isolation tank will fix a lot of your problems. If you really are about that life, if you're really about fixing yourself in a deep way, because I'm not just talking about fixing yourself and I just want to be more loving. I mean really being real with yourself. An isolation tank is a beautiful place to start, and there are people that might do a better job explaining it than me, but come on, man, you don't want to fucking leave this video. You want to stay with me. You want to ride with me. You feel me? Because you love me and I love you. This is a relationship that we have. Shit, we're 26 minutes deep. I feel like we almost have a connection at this point. Anyway, what you could do, if you want to get more information, I would go to Google. I would type in Joe Rogan isolation tank. That's a good place to start right there. Boom. But I'm going to hit you with some information that not even these people are going to give you. So, first of all, basic stuff. An isolation tank is a coffin filled with water. A coffin. God, I make it sound so morbid. It's a tank filled with water. You're in complete darkness, and it's very safe. It's insane. It's one of the safest places you could be in, to be fucking honest with you. And the water is heated to the same temperature as your skin, so you don't even feel it. There's 1,000 pounds of Epsom salts, so you float. You can't sink. You can't drown. Nothing's going to happen to you. The worst that happens is you get a little bit of salt water in your eyes, and that's it. You just wipe it off with a towel. You're good. You're golden. And it's complete darkness. So you can't feel yourself. You're weightless. And you're basically in space. That's what it feels like. You're in space. Can't feel your body. And your mind is free of any attachments. Now, what's so interesting about this, and I'm taking it a level deeper with you guys, is that your brain naturally operates on an alpha brainwave state. Okay? It's your logical processing mind. I think that's what it's called. In an isolation tank, when your mind is free of all limitations, bodily limitations, it goes into what's called a theta brainwave state. And these are the same brainwave states that Buddhist monks get to after 20 plus years of meditation. An isolation tank is supercharging that whole process. And you may not even get to those places the first time, but Jesus Christ, you will know when you hit those places. It took me an hour and 30 minutes the first time to really hit those levels. And at that hour and 30 minute mark, oh my God, you just get hit with just the deepest revelations that you can imagine. And I don't even want to talk about them in the video because I don't want to sound like a nut job, but it's deep. It's deep, and you will see yourself and your life in a completely new perspective that is not able to be, you can't view it unless you're doing some crazy monk Buddhist type shit in India, and that's just not worth the time, man. We've got lives to live. We can't do that. So I would highly recommend trying this out. I would do 2 hours the first time. That's what I did 2 hours the first time because an hour wasn't enough. And it can be even kind of expensive. I don't do it that much. I do it once every few months because it's $30 an hour. It's nuts. These people, they're trying to rip you off. All the cool shit that's out, man, there's always some scumbag, some snake oil salesman trying to rip you off. It's water, man. What the fuck? Whatever. We're not going to get into it. But seriously, man, I would really recommend trying out an isolation tank, and you'll lose your identity a little bit, and it'll be very powerful, and you'll be able to look at your life from a new vantage point, and you will feel something that you probably haven't felt in a long time. And if you want to take all the meditative, spiritual, evolutionary sides of this out, if you work out a lot, or if you're stressed out, or if you have joint pain, it's a great place to go. I remember I went to this place and there was this frail old little 90-year-old woman that had arthritis, and she would come down every 2 weeks from Tennessee, right? This is like 8 hour plus drive every 2 weeks just to relieve her joint pain. Because it was the only place she could go to where all her joints would relax and gravity would stop affecting her, and it was beautiful. I mean, she'd love it. It's great for pregnant women, right? You just impregnated your bitch. Send her in there, man. The baby will love it. She'll love it. Maybe the baby will even come out in light and start telling you what to do, you know? It just was in the isolation tank. It'll start hitting you with some Buddha knowledge, you know? Tell you what you're doing wrong with your life, Dad. Imagine if that really happened to you. It's not gonna happen. Baby's gonna scream and cry and shit its pants all day, and you're gonna have to fucking deal with it. So have fun with that. But anyway, I would recommend that. But look, man, everyone's got their own path, and I'm not one to tell people what to do. I don't like putting myself in some type of weird position where I'm telling people what to do. No, I actually do like telling people what to do. I can be kind of bossy in that sense, but I don't like acting as if I'm on some type of pedestal, because I'm not. I'm just a dude who likes to read a lot. I like to inform myself with a lot of knowledge. I like to, you know, because I'm not perfect. I'm out of my mind most times, but I try. I really work hard on maintaining a balance. And shit, you know what? I want to talk about something else before we wrap this up. There was this interview with Richard Branson. I don't know if you know him or not. He's this billionaire. He runs Virgin Mobile and Virgin Airlines. And he was doing this interview. Before the interview even started, I should give you some backstory here because this is fascinating. This reporter wanted to interview him. And so Richard Branson, this billionaire, says, all right, you come interview me, right? Richard Branson's on this giant island. Right? He's a billionaire. He lives on an island, of course, right? If I'm a billionaire, I'm living on an island. I'll have 8 islands if I'm a billionaire. But he tells the reporter, he says, okay, you want to interview me? You got to swim here, motherfucker. You have to swim here. And I think it was like an 11-mile swim. It could have been a mile. I'm fact-check me, pussies. I don't give a fuck. I'm going to say 11 miles because 11 miles sounds way more gangster. Has to swim 11 miles in shark-infested waters, right? So there's sharks in the water, and he's got to swim there. And he swims there, and first of all, if I have to swim 11 miles to meet anyone, I'm going to be asking them the deepest of questions. These are not going to be dumb questions. This guy asked retarded questions. I don't know how you can swim over... I don't know how you can swim 11 miles and then come up to a dude and ask him some basic-ass questions, but that's what this guy did. And he said, one of the questions was, and this is, Richard Branson was very knowledgeable, and he said something, I mean, it really wasn't that knowledgeable, but shit, I mean, a billionaire says you want to kind of fucking pay attention, I guess. He said, you know, how did you get to the height that you've gotten to? Like, what do you think was the most defining characteristic of what got you to the height of your success? Richard Branson sits back, you know, thinks about it for a minute, sits there and he's thinking, and he says, working out. Working out is without a doubt one of the keys, one of the pillars. And I thought about that, and I said, you know, that's a good point, because I've been working out for a long time now, and I can tell how much more energy I have. It's insane. But I would bounce this idea off of other people, right? He said just working out. Very coy in his answer, but either way. Yeah, I'd bounce this idea off of other people, and other people would say, okay, but yeah, you know, I know a lot of people that work out, and they're not that productive, and they're not even that intelligent. So I would build off that idea. I would say working out and surrounding yourself with not only inspirational people, because inspiration is like medicine. You need a little bit of it every day. Also, informing yourself, surrounding yourself with people that are smarter than you. And if you live in a day-to-day life where people aren't smarter than you, the internet is a beautiful tool. Jason Silva, one of my favorite people to go to. I've got books. Books, podcasts, science articles, Neil deGrasse Tyson, all these people, brilliant minds that you should be looking into. And you know, one quote that's always stuck with me, a cliche quote that you've probably heard before, but it's stuck. It's definitely stuck. If you're the smartest person in the room, get the fuck out of the room, you know? You always want to be surrounded by people smarter than you. And that's so true, man. I mean, you have to be willing to take that L. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to be willing to take that L. What do I mean by take that L? Take that loss. You have to be willing. I guess this is kind of where humility kind of plays into the equation. You have to be willing, but not too humble. Like, you can't let it shake your confidence. You have to be willing to look at all these smart people around you, whether it's on the internet or if you go to a conference or whatever the fuck it is. And you have to be willing to take the best shit from them and apply it to your own psyche, your own ego. You have to apply it to yourself and then run with it. I think it was Picasso who said it. I don't know. It might have been. It's some great artist who said, he said, good artists mimic, but great artists steal, blatantly steal. You apply that to ideas too. Steal the fucking ideas. Who gives a shit if some other guy came up with it? You take it and you run with it. Most of the stuff I talk about does not come from my own brain. Some of it does, but it's typically a collection of ideas that I kind of throw around in my brain a lot. There's this idea of a rock tumbler. I think even Richard Branson talks about this. I apply this to teams, and I also apply this to ideas. Or no, this is from Steve Jobs, actually. So he says, look at a rock tumbler. You might not know what a rock tumbler is. A rock tumbler is this thing, right? You put a bunch of rocks in this little engine. It's in this like little cylinder, and it's connected to an engine. And you let it spin for like 6 to 12 hours. So you get these shitty looking rocks, and you put them in this little tumbler thing, this little circular thing. And you spin them around for 6 to 12 hours. It's making all these noise because the rocks are banging around on each other, and they're creating a lot of friction, and they're banging around on the walls. It's very noisy. But after 6 to 12 hours, you stop the engine, and you take the rocks out, and they come out as these like polished gems. This is the way it works when you're working with other people, especially when you've got other people you're working with big egos. You're going to bump heads. But also with ideas. When you have a lot of ideas rumbling around in your head all the time, they bump up against each other, and you need to try and synthesize that and create something a little deeper. So most of my ideas are just synthesized ideas from other people that I take, and I try to surround myself or listen to very intelligent people all the fucking time. And it's important, man, and the internet allows people to do that with everyone. I mean, you can do that at any given moment. That's why it's so infuriating to me when I see all these dumb people walking around, because it's like, man, you have the world's information in your pocket, and you don't even utilize it. I mean, instead you're on fucking Instagram or Twitter or whatever the fuck, bullshitting around with your subtweets, and or whatever the fuck you're doing. It's nonsense. So, I don't know. We're at 37 minutes. If you guys have ridden with me this deep, then dude, you want to come over and hang out or some shit? We're not gonna do that. But yo, I love you motherfuckers. I guess I've never met you, you fucking stalkers, but I still love you. And I like doing this shit. I really do. This is like a nice little release for me. Cause I get to just kind of like just word vomit the stuff in my head out, and I like it. I really enjoy it. If you enjoyed it, I don't know, like it or don't, I don't really give a shit. I hope you liked it. If not, it's all good. We're gonna keep it moving though. I got other shit I need to do. I'm fucking exhausted, to be honest with you. Cold shower, working out, fucking all this stupid shit I had to do today. I'm gonna go to bed. I fucking love you people. Yo, by the way, I'm gonna have a fucking Ghost Recon video that's coming out. I'm gonna put some time into it, you fucks. So check it out, watch it, because we're reminiscing a little bit. It's New Year. I want to bring back some old memories, and we'll keep it moving from there. We'll see what goes down. It's hard out here for a pimp or some shit. Anyway, I'm out. Take it easy. Hope you guys have had a good New Year, and I hope you have a great year. What, I don't fucking know. I fucking hope you all get hit by a car or not. No, I don't mean that. That's negative energy. You don't want to. Fuck you. I'm out. I love you. Take it easy. I'll be around. Hit me up on Twitter. I've always got my phone on me. I'm like a little crackhead that way. I've always got my phone on me. Hit me up. I'll be around. Peace out. I love you.